Welcome back to Rooted and Refined. Today we are going to tackle the honeysuckle that is behind me. I'm growing this honeysuckle to cover up the post that it's growing on, and it needs a little bit of help getting up that post. Last year I had to cut it down to the ground. It was all the way up to the top of the post and over onto the lights, which is exactly what I want, but it started really struggling. It got attacked by aphids and was also growing. You might be able to see them. They've all kind of dried off now, but all of this right here looked like it was trying to grow aerial roots. I amended the soil, fertilized it, gave it a little rest, and now it's coming back in full force. So we're gonna get to work and get this trained up this post again. I'll use these hooks that I found on Amazon to stick to the post to help train that honeysuckle where I want it to go. So what we'll do is grab what's growing into my seeding wall here, which I definitely don't want. So I'll grab a stem. Might need to do a bit of untangling. Kind of get everything facing in the right direction before I start figuring out where I want these stems to go. Obviously I don't need it to look perfect, but I want it to look balanced and I want it to grow well. All right, so my first one, I'm going to put one of these right there. And as we stick these clips onto the post, you can put multiple stems through one. Put this one a little further down to start. I used to use fishing line to train things on a fence or up a post, but that's not ideal since it can cut into the stems, damage the plant. So I love these hooks. I was very lucky to have found them on Amazon. I was in Charleston actually, and was admiring some plants growing up a fence in Charleston and noticed that it was being held up by these little clips. So I had to find them. I'm glad I did. We'll put another one a little further down here to hold this closer. There we go. Let's see, here's a good example where I can put two in one right there. I just want to get everything straight, get it going up that post. And I'll put this one here and this one. And then I'll put another one up here. There's no science or overthinking this. Just put them where you think they can go. And this one can actually get held in a little closer to the post right there. And as they grow up, we'll add more to the top. Something else you can do is use these clips to hold stems together to help train things up and get them nice and straight without having to put too much thought or effort into it. Just grab two stems, join them where you think they need to go, and clip them. Easy peasy. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, this is a major wheeler honeysuckle. Non-invasive, It's not gonna drop a bunch of seed or spread anywhere. It's gonna stay right here. This thing has gotten so big already. Such a short amount of time. I didn't think it was gonna come back. I was ready to replace it this year, but I thought, you know, I'm just gonna try it. Sometimes when you cut things back, they spring back to life, and this was one of those times. I'm very happy about it. But I am surprised at how fast it has gotten so big, which is probably a sign that in a few years I'm going to be spending time out here pruning this. All right, so how can we tie this back into a refinement lesson? I think it's pretty simple when you think about, before I came out here and started doing this, all of these branches were jumbled up. They were in one big mess, all tangled together. And sometimes life can feel like that, can't it? You feel like everything's intertwined. You can't separate the good from the bad. It's hard to get your head on straight sometimes. But if you step back, don't even really have to overthink it too much. Just spend a little bit of time sorting through all of that mess. Figure out where you need to arrange things to make things fall into place. I'm one of the worst at overthinking, which I think is why gardening appeals to me so much. Because you can't overthink it, you just can't. And sometimes in the design phases, I probably tend to get caught up in the overthinking of it. But once you just start doing it, you can't overthink it, you just do it. And it's also nice that you can come out here and spend some time doing something like this, and it's just instant gratification. You know, a lot of gardening, we have to wait, right, for things to grow, for our vision to be realized. But when you can come out here and do something like this, and you can pretty quickly see the results of your work, it's very satisfying. Right. And so as this honeysuckle grows, it'll keep growing up that post. And I'll just keep putting hooks up there. And eventually, it's going to make it back up to the top. Look how much better it looks already. Aphids love to overwinter in honeysuckle. So I've preventatively sprayed some neem oil, and I'll just keep an eye on it. And that's it. The other thing I want to do today is soil test around these hydrangeas. Not because I'm worried about them. I bought a soil test kit off Amazon just to test the pH and the nitrogen level in the soil. Can you guess why I want to experiment around these hydrangeas? So these hydrangeas are blue. Sometimes they're pink, sometimes they're blue. In more acidic soil, these hydrangeas will be blue, and in more alkaline soil, they'll be pink. So I want to see how accurate that test that I bought is. I'm going to grab it and be right back. All right, so this is it. This is the test that I bought. I've had this for a while. I have already put 25 milliliters of water in the test tube. These are the test strips, and then the scoop. I've used this one time. I was not convinced it was accurate. I don't know, it just a cheap test kit off of Amazon. I don't know how accurate can it be, but we're gonna see. This is a good test since I know that the soil is should be, it is acidic. It should test acidic. It says 2 level scoops. So let's make sure we're following directions. Okay, and then it says to shake it up and wait 30 minutes before we test it. So I'm gonna do that off camera. I'll meet you back here in 30 minutes. All right, it's been about 30 minutes since we did our soil test. I've got roughly 3 minutes left. So I'm going to use these 3 minutes to tell you a little bit about what makes the hydrangeas blue. I told you acidic soil, right? You have to have acidic soil to make them blue. If the soil isn't acidic, the plant can't uptake aluminum. The aluminum is what makes the hydrangea blue. My hydrangeas are not a deep blue, so I don't expect them to have a super high pH. Probably between 5 to 5.5 is what I would expect. So let me get you set up to where you can see what's going on the table in front of me, and we'll get the soil test done. The other thing I will say about the soil test, I just took the top layer, so my results could be skewed. Just say that up front. I know that. If I was going to do this completely scientifically, I would want to get the soil down near where the roots of the plant are. Hydrangeas are pretty shallow rooted, but I did just kind of scrape that top layer of soil, so my results could be skewed, but it's a fun little experiment. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it has been 30 minutes. I'm going to show you, so if I take a test strip out, just one, I don't need two. We're going to dip our test strip into the very top layer, not down into the soil, just that top layer of that water. And then we'll compare it. We'll let it sit for a minute and then we'll compare it. So I'm expecting the color should be 5 to 5.5. So let's see what we got. It's just a quick dip. And then we're going to lay it flat for 1 minute. It's been a minute. See, I just don't believe it. This should be more green. I mean, we're looking 3.5. If that soil were 3.5, those hydrangeas would be so blue. I think I might have to be a little more scientific and do it down closer to the root. Also, you can see our nitrogen is right at 40, which is great. I mean, that's ideal. But again, I did this on the top layer, so maybe I'll try it again and get a little deeper and see if that makes the results any different. Now, I will say when I did that soil test before, when I first bought the kit, I did do it correctly where I went down, I got a deeper sample of soil, and it was the exact same. It was 3.5 pH and 4 for the nitrogen. I just don't believe it. I just think that this particular kit, not to say that all kits you get off of Amazon aren't going to be accurate, I just don't think this one is. But I don't go around testing my soil to see if my plants are healthy. I look at my plants, and then if I suspect an issue, I kind of troubleshoot it from there. So it's not the end of the world that I don't have the most accurate soil test. And that's going to be it for us today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, stay rooted, stay refined, and I'll see you soon.